好，跟住嚟到記。
This is the second session of the press conference. Thank you for your patience. We'll now invite the three secretaries of department designate as well as the Deputy Secretary of Department designate to enter the stage.
好，前排攝記可能要踎低，唔該。
Would the front row make way for the back row? 好，差唔多啦，有請咁多位，盡快下，唔該。OK， 請好啦，我哋時間差唔多啦嚇，唔該晒，有請咁多位。 Thank you. Please be seated. First of all, we ask the Chief Secretary for Administration designate Mr. Eric Chen to speak. Friends from the media, good afternoon. I am very honored for the nomination of the Chief Executive-elect and the appointment by the Central People's Government CPG for the post of CS4A, Chief Secretary for Administration. I thank them for their trust and confidence in me. The honor aside, I also feel the pressure of the responsibility. Hong Kong is now mired in many difficulties in the form of livelihood issues as well as economic issues. People have higher expectations of the government. I undertake that I will do my best to assist the Chief Executive-elect to implement correctly one country, two systems. I will also pool all the resources together from different policy bureaus to formulate beneficial policies to benefit Hong Kong people. I would also take departments to task to streamline their procedures and enhance their efficiency in order to resolve problems for Hong Kong people. I will also work with different policy bureaus and make suggestions and recommendations to the CE on future directions and plans of policies of Hong Kong. I think Hong Kong's development is intertwined with that of our motherland. With relevant policy bureaus as well as our counterparts on the mainland, we will keep very close liaison and to tap into the opportunities posed by the Greater Bay Area. In the coming 5 years, it is a critical point, a starting point for Hong Kong to start again. We need to seize the opportunity to successfully implement one country, two systems, and a brighter future of Hong Kong. I will not fail the CPG as well as the CE-elect. I will do my utmost to assist the CE-elect to start a new chapter for Hong Kong. Thank you. Thank you, CS4A designate. Please be seated. We'll now hear from the Financial Secretary designate, Mr. Paul Chan. Friends from the media, members of the Hong Kong public, good afternoon. I thank the CPG's appointment of me as the Financial Secretary of the 6th term of the government. I thank the CE-elect Mr. John Lee for his support and nomination, for letting me to continue to serve as the Financial Secretary to make contributions to Hong Kong and to the motherland. I've joined the government for 10 years. I have accumulated sufficient experience in public administration. In my role as the Financial Secretary in the past 5 years, I've left no stone unturned to boost Hong Kong's economic development, especially in the area of financial services as well as innovation and technology. I also staunchly safeguard the bottom line of financial security. I also make coordination to safeguard our financial system. I make good use of public money, and I enhance the efficiency of our public services to help the public. In the past few years, we have seen major changes in the macroeconomic environment. We were hard hit by backlash violence and the epidemic. We're faced with a very difficult situation. Everyone from different quarters and different stratum have been working together. The implementation of the national security law has brought Hong Kong from chaos to stability swiftly. We have the improved electoral systems to enable patriots administering Hong Kong. We now enter a stage where we move from stability to prosperity. I'm grateful that I'm given the opportunity to join this new team. We'll work together for the prosperity and brighter future of Hong Kong. In the coming few years, the external environment faced by Hong Kong will be more complicated and ever-changing. But I believe that with the sound support of the CPG, the unique advantage of one country, two systems, and the strong leadership of Mr. John Lee, the CE-elect, the new team will think out of the box and with unprecedented determination and fighting spirit work with everyone to speedily resolve problems we face and to promote our economic development so that we will have a new chapter for prosperity, stability, as well as a happy life. Thank you.
請後任
I'd like to invite SJ designate Mr. Paul Lam, please. Friends of the media, fellow citizens, first of all, I'm grateful to the CPG and the CE-elect for their trust in me. The rule of law is a very important issue for Hong Kong. With the rule of law, everyone can feel that they are living in a society which has justice and fairness, and they can have a decent life and pursue their own aspirations. From the Hong Kong point of view, if we are to maintain Hong Kong's financial, shipping, and business center status, and if we are to build Hong Kong as an international legal and seat of arbitration in the region, then under the 14th Five-Year Plan and the GBA outline development plan, the rule of law is really indispensable. As someone who is passionate about Hong Kong and committed to Hong Kong, I would definitely safeguard the rule of law, and I will banish Hong Kong's image as a place where there is rule of law. I want to make the people of Hong Kong feel that Hong Kong is worth its image and feel proud of Hong Kong. And we will try to make Hong Kong the envy of other places. To this end, together with the Deputy SJ and the DOJ, we will stay united and with the utmost sincerity and utmost effort we will secure your support and trust. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Please be seated, Mr. Paul Lam. I'd like to invite Deputy CS Designate, Mr. Chuk Wing Heng. Fellow citizens, friends of the media, good afternoon. I'm grateful to the CE-elect for nominating and for CPG for appointing me as the Deputy CS. I know how onerous the task is going to be. I joined as Inspector of the Police in 1981, and 3 years later I became an administrative officer. I retired in 2019. I've been serving the government for 38 years. As AO, I've been serving 17 bureaus and departments and overseas office. And I covered areas like election, public health, civil service, food and health, and labor matters. Also, I was once seconded to the CS office to deal with the SARS emergency issues, and also to be in charge of the Clean Hong Kong campaign. After retirement, I was the chairman of the EO grade, and also the vaccination program office director and advisor of the FS private office. My job is to help the CS to coordinate the bureaus and departments. I've been working in some of the departments and bureaus. I'm sure that my experience in these areas will certainly be of help in my coordination work. Once again, I'm grateful to the CPG and the CE-elect for this rare opportunity to serve Hong Kong and the nation. I will spare no effort to safeguard the one country, two systems principle, and to take forward the work under my portfolio. Thank you very much.
We'll now hear from the Deputy Financial Secretary Designate, Mr. Michael Wong. Friends from the media, members of the public, good afternoon on Father's Day. I feel honored to receive the nomination from the Chief Executive-elect and the appointment by the CPG to become the Deputy Financial Secretary for the sixth term of the government. I'd like to express to the CPG and the CE-elect my heartfelt gratitude. As the Deputy FS, under the leadership of the FS as well as the CE, I will coordinate the work of 6 policy bureaus. These bureaus cover a wide and extensive scope: housing, transport, economic development, innovation technology, as well as financial services. Our key areas of work at the beginning of the next term of government would be on land supply as well as housing production. I will also be involved in the formulation of the next budget. In other realms, I will, upon the instruction of the FS as well as the actual situation, do my work. There are many challenges waiting round the corner for us. I do believe that as long as stakeholders work together with the government, we will be able to overcome these difficulties. Our country will continue to render support to Hong Kong. In the course of working together, I am honored to become a part of the governing team. I will do my utmost to work with you to carry out my work to the best of my ability. Thank you. I now invite Deputy Secretary for Justice, designate Mr. Horace Cheung, to speak. Members of the Hong Kong public, friends from the media, good afternoon. First of all, I'd like to thank the CE-elect for his nomination, and I'd also like to thank the appointment by the CPG for me to become the Deputy Secretary for Justice. We have an important task to promote the rule of law. We also have a task to promote Hong Kong as a hub for legal dispute resolution in the region. We'll work very hard to strengthen our understanding of the rule of law as well as the basic law. I understand that the work ahead is daunting. We will do our best, and I will assist the Secretary for Justice to carry out his work. And I will also carry out the duties given to me by the CPG and the CE-elect. I will also liaise with stakeholders and explain our policies to the general public. I will work hard to promote Hong Kong's communication and exchanges with the mainland and other places. And I will also publicize our reputation to the rest of the world. I will, in a humble way, without fear of favor, carry out our duty to work for our country and for the Hong Kong SAR. Thank you very much. Thank you. Please be seated.
Now it's time for questions. Similar to the previous round, please raise your hand and wait for the mic to come along, and also identify the organizations you represent and make it brief. When you take the floor, limit yourself to one single question, please. The lady in white on the third row, please. Cable news. Mr. Paul Lam, how do you characterize the rule of law in Hong Kong? How do you safeguard the rule of law? As chairman, you said that the opposition to co-location is undermining the basic law. How are you going to safeguard the reputation of Hong Kong? Right, I'm full of confidence in the rule of law in Hong Kong. This is not just me saying it. You probably noticed that internationally, our rule of law has been ranked a very high place. A World Justice Project, we ranked 19th by comparison with other Commonwealth jurisdictions. We are surpassing or similar or surpassing them. The US is 27th or 28th, if I am not mistaken. So we do enjoy very high status in terms of rule of law. National security law, I'm sure you must understand that safeguarding national security is, under the Constitution and the basic law, something that we have to uphold. And we have to make sure that one country, two systems is going to continue into the future. If you apply the simple logic, if there are problems with national security and society is unstable, how can we have a good enough environment for us to deal with social issues? You mentioned co-location. I think you have to cast the mind back. The co-location is a novel idea. When the basic law was drafted, that wasn't really contemplated. And there were so many complicated issues involving the interface, the legal interface between the two places. People had different concerns and different views. I think it's something really natural. But if you cast your mind back today, the decision of co-location was taken in 2017 and 18. So many years later, we understand that this is a lawful arrangement, and this is in the best interest of Hong Kong. Next, please. The one in blue in the middle, please. Ming Pao Daily. We'll speak up a little bit. This is for Paul. Mr. John Lee said that he's going to be adopting some KPIs, and under the NSL, will the prosecution under NSL be one of the KPIs? And how you going to divide the work between you and your deputy? Will you be dealing with the prosecutorial work yourself? Mr. Paul Lam. Right, in terms of KPI, definitely. After we started our work with Horace and after discussing with the colleagues, we will decide on the KPI as to how we can enhance our efficiency. Under the Basic Law 62, this is the SJ's constitutional duty. When it comes to prosecution, there are a number of considerations. First, evidence. Second, the law. And third, the prosecutorial guidance. There are no other considerations. There are no follow-up questions, I'm afraid. Next, please. The one in white, at the back to the left. Speak up a little bit, please. Hong Kong Economic Journal. Also, this is for Mr. Paul Lam. You told the media that in 1989, during June 4th, you did attend the rallies. What is your view regarding the aspiration to reverse the verdict of June 4th? And there are many speculations about the red line regarding June 4th. Will you be more specific about this? And also the division of work between the secretary and the deputy. How are you going to divide your work? Right, on your first question, June the 4th, I'm not going to comment on this. I'd like to focus my attention on the division of work. I'm sure you are concerned about my division of work with my deputy. There are two levels here. First, under the DOJ, there are 6 departments responsible for different spheres of work. And other than that, we have to do works like building up Hong Kong as a center for international arbitration, and how we can promote legal practitioners to practice in the GBA, and also how can we make people outside understand Hong Kong's legal development properly. So between me and Horace, we do have some fundamental ideas, but as I said a moment ago, me and Horace will need to get started with our work first and discuss with the DOJ colleagues as to how best we can divide our work. But I can give you the reassurance that there will be clear division of work to enhance the efficiency to achieve the purpose of having the deputy. And at the right time, I will be delineating this to the media. Right, there are a couple of questions for Mr. Paul Lam. Are there any other questions for other officials, please? The lady, Phoenix TV. Mr. Eric Chen, you were the director of CE's office. Now you are going to be the CS. What challenges are you going to be facing, and what area of work will you be prioritizing when you assume office? The Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office referred to 5 demands. Are you going to respond to that? And how will the 3 top secretaries divide the work with the deputies? Right. Thank you for your question. There are 9 policy bureaus under the CS. I'm glad that Mr. Chow Wing-hing will be my deputy. And Mr. Check has already explained a few moments ago that his CV is really very impressive, and I'm sure Mr. Check will be assisting me in the coordination work. Once I assume my post, I will be reviewing my work in the first instance and see what kind of what areas of work can be referred to Mr. Check. I'm sure that there will be clear division of work so that we can work with one another and coordinate all the policy bureaus to achieve the best possible results. As to challenges, as I said at the beginning, there are so many challenges in Hong Kong, economically, socially, with regard to the pandemic and so on. So once we've taken office, we will be discussing with the CE, and we will discuss all these issues and prioritize them accordingly. Now, for urgent livelihood issues, that there will be of no delay. Thank you.
Next question. At the back to the left, one in orange. Good afternoon. I would like to ask Mr. Chen and Mr. Lam. Well, there are U.S. court judges saying that they would like to sanction judges dealing with national security cases, and there are similar calls in other countries as well. Do you have any mechanisms to guard against that? First of all, we can't control others. What matters is what our attitude is. As the CE-elect said, our stance towards sanctions are very clear. We slight them. When there are political measures without justification, we will be very firm. We will not yield. I myself am not scared about these things at all. In relation to my work regarding these so-called sanctions by the US, as the CE-elect, as well as the Secretary for Justice designate said, we share the same view. Perhaps there may be short-term psychological impact on our financial environment, but as we've always done, we will manage risk. We have bottom-line mentality and prepare for the worst. At the same time, we will actively liaise with different sectors, including the international community as well as the business sector. We will explain to them that Hong Kong still enjoys a very competitive and attractive business environment. We have the condition to continue to be prosperous. After the promulgation of national security law in 2020, in terms of capitalization of IPOs as well as aggregate deposit in banks or number of regional headquarters or offices of international corporations, all these figures register a record high. So we have to be confident of ourselves. There may be difficulties, but with the support of our country, we will unreservedly march forward. Last question. The reporter in white in the middle.
China Morning Post. My question is for Mr. Chuck. You were the director of the government's dialogue office amid the social unrest. Would you do anything to create chances for dialogues to mend the rift in the 2019 social unrest? Thanks.
Thank you for your question. I'm not sure that, we want to look at communication with the public just only in terms of creation of dialogue sessions. As the Chief Executive has just mentioned, I think we will adopt a multifaceted and all-out approach to reach out to our people. We will be visiting districts. And I think despite the question early asked, early put to the Chief Executive elect, that he's giving exclusive, in quotation, exclusive interviews to Tai Kung and Wen Hui. But I think we don't just look at those two interviews. Actually, the Chief Executive elect, he has spoken to the media at large at earlier stages, and I think his messages were put across very clearly. So I would like to approach this issue that way. Thank you.
好多謝各位第二節嘅。
Thank you very much. This is the end of the second session. We will take a break before we start the third session. Thank you very much.